question of the day is sex a taboo topic in the Caribbean?
Yes.
Do you believe that your parents having the sex talk with you earlier on would benefit you and your experiences later on in life?
Yes.
Okay, so we know how B feels about that.
Wow.
Yeah. It is well, I wouldn't say it's taboo in the Caribbean. I just could speak from my experience with my parents. I don't know. I never had the sex talk with my parents. As far as I know, I was immaculately conceived because my parents literally never talked to us about anything. Honestly.
Why did you feel the need to say that? Like, for what reason?
Because
okay, guys, Tabby was immaculately conceived.
A Korean rapper.
No, seriously, because it's how against talking about sex it was in my family. That's how it feels. Like literally, I have 4 siblings, and I have never heard the sex talk they had with any of them. So like, I feel like that's irresponsible. Like to have so many, I feel like I dissed my mommy. To have that many kids though, and to not talk about sex with even one, that's very irresponsible. Like I feel like parents don't realize how much they are like responsible for who we turn out to be. It's like if I can't come to my parent about sexual education, who I supposed to go to? So I feel like parents really do need to get this, especially Caribbean parents. They need to get this idea of sex is taboo with a child of a certain age. Like I feel like as soon as I am like around 11 or 12, or as soon as your child wants to be around their friends and hang out with their friends, that's when you should spurt up this sex talk, because I have to understand what I'm doing out here. You can't have me blind, like not knowing what's going on.
Just to ask everybody here, like, any of you had the sex talks with your parents?
Nope.
Nah, because
not to this day.
You?
I did, but not really by choice. It just kind of, it's not like they sat down and they're like, okay, let's have this conversation. It was more of like them catch me doing some rashness, and they're like, okay, let's talk about this.
Oh my God, you're never supposed to get caught.
That's crazy.
Yeah, box.
But yeah, so I mean, I did have that conversation, but now that the topic has been breached, now it's like I talk about sex with my mommy, like, we're very open.
So you
even at this age, you talk about sex with your mommy?
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
I talked to my mom about it, but she's never given me the sex talk or anything like that.
At least I didn't want to jump off that yet, but like my sexual experience, my conversation was more or less, my mommy just was like, I just happened to be in a room. She said to me, she just pulled out a condom, throw it down. She's like, when you feel hot, just make sure wear this. That was the extent of my conversation. I was like, I was in the 9th grade. I was 15. Oh, bro. She just slapped the condom and said, you feeling hot, just wear this. I was like,
bro,
and then I was there in the conversation.
It's great that she like initiates something for you, because like for me personally, my mommy was going through my drawer looking for money, because but anyway, that's a different story, right? But then she ended up finding the condom, right? And then she was like, what you doing with this? I was like, how you know what this is? And then she just was like, all right, it's good to see that you protected. And then that was that.
That was it?
That was about it.
So technically, never really had a sex.
Exactly. You never talk when we just like accuse me.
How old were you?
I was like 17.
Oh, okay.
Wow. But before that, there was nothing.
No.
But then again, like looking back on it, for me personally, I could only talk to my personal experience. It wasn't like I was slaying a bunch of like I was playing video games. There wasn't really a dire need to have a talk. Like
she knew, it wasn't really
good. She just wanted me to go outside and talk to people, It's like, you want to eat today? Like, shower, G?
I don't
sex
know.
talk was kind of far off in the head. So like,
PlayStation 3 and Pornhub.
So, I don't know. Like, I feel like my mom never like felt the need to discuss it with me. Like, I feel like if I had like gone up to her and asked her, like, yeah, mommy, like, okay, this is what's going on, or anything. I feel like my mother is the type of person that would have been straight up and was like, okay, cool, like, this is what happens, this is what's going on. But I feel like she just always felt like I had like an awareness of what was going on and what I should be doing from like my surroundings, which is not really good in a like I say, but like I said, like I talk to my mother freely about sex now. Like, like, mommy, this is what I'm doing. This is who I'm doing it with. And she talks to me, like she gives me advice. Well, not like positions and all
That's
that.
what I was
No.
about to say.
Nothing like that.
When y'all say y'all
Sick.
Well, you could imagine.
Nothing
That
like
is
that.
sick. There's no
That
universe.
is literally my
Imagine
next
your mommy
question.
telling you arch your back more.
Get on all fours. Let me see your technique. Let me see the arc.
That's my question. When y'all say y'all talk to y'all parents about sex, I'm like, what though? Like, what do y'all talk about?
Well, no,
Okay.
because well, with me, I tell my mother everything, legit everything, and I don't want there to be like a situation where something happens and something has happened to me. I'm all the way in Canada and she has no idea what's going on. Like legit, I had a pregnancy scare. I called my mother straight up. I was like, "Mommy, I think I'm pregnant." Like,
I mean,
and she, because like with my own like issues in life, like I need to have that confidence that ability to confide in my mother.
Yeah.
So like if I'm having a pregnancy scare, like yo, I'm going first when I'm calling is like, hey mommy, I think I might be pregnant. What should I do? So like that's why like I don't know how we started, like how it started, like how I was like comfortable with talking to her about the topic, but like we're now at that point in life and we ain't going back.
No, I've never had that conversation. I feel like one conversation my mom had with me is that, oh, women shouldn't have sex before marriage, especially with like different guys, because when you have sex with a guy, he leaves part of himself inside of you.
Soul ties.
You know, he leaves part of himself inside of you, and it makes it hard for you when you get married. And that was literally about it. But I feel like a lot of Caribbean parents forget that in the Caribbean itself, sex is a very open topic in the streets, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't talk to your kids at home about sex, then where else
Somebody
are they gonna
else-
learn it?
somebody
in
else
the
can talk
dance
to them
hall
about
songs
it.
you really want me to learn about sex on Vibe Scat, Talent Spice? Really?
Spicy fucking at the water.
Like
Spice dancing.
Spice say all up in the tree and all kind of
Exactly. Be there with broomstick.
broomstick and stuff like that. It's like they're not realizing how sexualized Caribbean people are. And it's just like that's where we're gonna learn this from. If I don't learn it from a
and also bear in mind that like for us, sure, okay, so even if we didn't have a conversation with our parents, we know where we can find other sources of information. We have the internet and so on. Like imagine for our parents when they didn't have internet, and their parents didn't have a conversation, what they could do, just
That's why
end
they
up
have
pregnant.
10 children because that's
Pretty
when
much.
you was
That's
little.
why they had
TV.
12 children.
They had a TV that was
nothing else to do. That's why they have
Exactly.
10 kids.
Exactly. She over there trying to diet. She's like, why my belly
got
getting
no
so
TV so we can have
fat?
children.
I feel like the stigma with Caribbean parents is as well as they feel like once you start talking about sex is that you could start having sex
It's
or something.
the
Yeah, it's like
It's
permission.
Yeah, it's like permission to
Acknowledgement
do
is
it, and that's
permission.
not it at all. It's all it's saying is when you get to that place, here's what you should do.
But-
Here's the
Yes.
things to
It's
look
just-
out for. Here's how to carry on.
That's such a foolish mindset in my
Yes.
opinion, because once they get a certain age, it's like free game, dog. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
once they turn 15, they can be horny. Like,
Yeah, but
that's-
natural.
Yeah,
So
but
like
I'm
what
not
I
gonna
trying
wait
to
until you
no,
15
but that's
and
what I
horny
trying
to
to. That's
talk
what I'm
to you.
saying. That's what I'm saying, right? So a lot of people don't want to have the conversation because it's like people think that that's telling their children that it's a green light, right? But so they try to push it off, which like ends up doing more damage.
Because
they
it's
don't
the
want to
same
have
thing,
children.
right? People don't
Private.
understand like you
Yeah.
wearing a seatbelt doesn't equal to you getting into an accident.
Yeah.
Like,
When
it
you
just
don't
means
have
you're
the
protected
conversation,
from it.
when you don't have the conversation, you leave a child unprotected.
Yes.
You leave a child unprepared.
It's
I would much
irresponsible.
rather have the awkwardness of the conversation to tell my
Yes.
child, this is the possibility of these are the possibilities of you having
Yes.
sex.
Yes.
If you have sex, it can lead to this and that if you don't know how to address
Like there's
it. So,
way
next
more
thing
to
your
learn
child end up
about
with
sex
AIDS
other
and
than
pregnancy
penetration and
all
all
kind
of
of
this.
stuff, right? There's-
So,
Sex
I
is
hate
a
to
whole
cut you.
thing that
Yes.
needs to be like covered. When you're
Yeah.
talking about sex, it's not literally just penis and vagina. I need to
Yeah.
know everything. I need you to tell me what like the emotional
Yes.
consequences of it are, physical consequences. I need to
A
know
lot-
everything. I need to
yes.
make an informed
that
decision
depends
before I
on
go
the
and do
person.
something.
A lot of
But-
times we don't even talk to the girls also about how to say no. Like
Yeah.
literally, you don't
And
need
yeah,
to have sex with a guy.
that's
because
why I
of
want to
this
go
and
with this topic.
Yeah.
Like, all right, it's hard for me to think of like phrase this question, but none of us had the talk, right? Do you think your life would be different if you
Yes.
were to have that talk, or do you
Yes.
think life in the
Life
Caribbean
or my like
itself?
sex
Hold
life.
on, life in the Caribbean itself would be different if it was more informed. Let's say, I know, like we have family life in the Bahamas, but that's a joke. Like, it's legit, like a joke. Like, I guess it'd be laughing. We going down maybe 3 times a semester.
What
like,
is
our
family life? I'm
is-
sorry, I don't
Family life is just they just teach you about like, all right, some
Religion?
classes. Some classes, all right. Let me just tell you, there's sometimes we're divided, sometimes we're together. Like depending on what the topic is, but it's like sex issues. Well, not issues. There's sex education, like fucking flipping hygiene stuff. for women, and then on the men's side too, like, you know, just things of that nature. But even then, like, the family life curriculum is like seeing like it's not seen as an actual subject or something that's important.
Yeah, they teach us also a lot of times when they're talking about sex in schools is you could get this STD, that STD, this, but not talk about anything else besides that. It's just like
It's also, like they're trying to scare them straight.
Yeah, and also the way they talk about STIs also is that they talk about them very, and the language is very stigmatizing, you know, and it makes you feel like, oh my gosh, this infection is going to like cost me my life or something. When honestly, most of them are just curable in like 7 days on Chulika pill. You know, it's not that serious.
Short of penicillin and you straight.
Not that that's like, oh, you know, make it do what
when you're teaching kids in that way too, like, okay, sex unequals to you having like, as you said, this uncurable disease, and you know you're gonna be run down and you're gonna look sorry.
Exactly.
And then you see your peers who you're not having sex and they're looking fine. You're just like, I'm gonna take a chance. They look fine. I mean, I'm gonna take a chance. You know, you get what I mean? Like,
exactly. But then you don't know how to properly prevent yourself and how to recognize, oh, you know, maybe I should not do this, whatever.
With parents who don't have the sex talk with their kids, I feel like that's just you leaving them more vulnerable and more susceptible, especially with peer pressure. Like if I learn it from my parents, I'm gonna learn from my friends, and if my friends are the ones who I want to be around all the time, let me try to be like
that
them.
You learn it from porn,
so,
and if you learn it from porn,
like everybody watching, like I'm learning this from everything other than the people who are supposed to be learning.
They don't teach us about consent, like
condoms, sexual protection. Literally
like
nothing. We all
sex goes a lot deeper than just sex. Like you're saying, consent,
consent,
like the emotional baggage and other things of that nature. Like I just think it's a whole lot that we just basically play a blind eye to.
We don't really talk about.
But let me ask, like, the second part of the question: how would your parents having the sex talk with you earlier? How would that have basically affected your, let's say, sex life?
Nah, we're in a therapy session right now, sis.
That was a part
of a therapy session.
You don't want the question to progress. We've been talking about the same thing for a while.
Let me let the boys answer.
What was the question again? My bad.
How would your parents have talking to you when you were a kid about sex? How would that have changed your sexual life or your sex life?
Towards you want to go first? You haven't been saying much.
My thing was, right, I say this from like off air, but like, to be honest with you, I don't think it was gonna change much. I don't know what they would have said to me that would have affected the way I move. Like, again, I think I mentioned in a different like segment, I lose my virginity at like 18. To me, it's like, if they told me, had this conversation at 15, I don't know if it's like, oh, now I was can miraculously had a better perspective on how to have sex. I don't think that was gonna change. I mean, personally, I don't know like how my mentality for a change. I could say I probably could have learned different things ahead of time. Like, I know by myself, I had to figure out how to put a condom on. Like, I was just like before, I always been the type of person.
Oh my god, that's such a funny story. Did you remind me of?
Yeah, tell us a story.
Love, is it the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing or whatever?
It is my real life, baby girl. I'm sorry. I wish it was a movie.
I think of like different scenarios because I was the type of person I like to been prepared. I used to overthink a lot. So I used to been like, the times I was trying to have sex, I used to been like, all right.
Exactly.
I said, boy, I gotta go have sex with this girl. I don't realize like, I ever put a condom on. I sit in there, I gotta figure like, this way. Right? Did I unroll it wrong? Stuff like that.
I didn't even know unrolling it wrong was a thing. Anyway, go on.
I remember watching like, I remember thinking like, I always was like interested in, I always understand the idea of foreplay. So I was like, I vagina. I just watching videos on how to vagina. I was like, how do I educate myself when it's like, oh, you do this, something like this, this like this. I was like just trying to pay attention and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know if that might have given me more, I don't want to say in a negative way, it might have given me more confidence to move more sexually, if that's the case. But I don't know if that would have changed. I don't honestly think that was gonna happen.
I love how you phrased it so educationally, like you wasn't horny as fuck watching all this shit.
No, but like in particular with like them videos, it was literally for education.
Oh, you
like,
go on there, research it.
Like I was like, my girl, like this is the time I go on by my girl for the first time.
You just hear the BBC narrator, Pringulus.
I like David Asper in the background. This is the clitoris.
Yeah, talking like singing the shit. This is what you do, and then they put like a video of it happening. It was educational.
That grapefruit video too, boss.
I want to hear Wade's story. I want to hear Wade's story.
It was just like not like knowing what to do for sex, and then like when I had the reality, like the girl who I was gonna lose my virginity lost my virginity to, right? The girl who I lost my virginity to, it was premeditated, right? So we just decided at this point in this time we can do it, right? So then like it's like 3 days before, and I was like, boy, I can have to wear a condom, you know.
I never did
And I
this
was
before,
like,
no.
I never put one of these on before.
No.
So then I was like, dread. I had the condoms ready, right? Because I had them condoms from time, bro. From she was talking to me, I was like, but I can grind this, bro. I don't know when, but I can grind this.
Oh, well, ask condoms, spin in
So-
the drawer.
Right.
In your wallet. Pull up in your wallet.
No. They was in my drawer. So fucking flipping. I go on to try, like, you know, just work with the condom. And like I opened the wipe. And then I just tried to put it on, and I absolutely failed. But like, like it was bad, bro. Like I don't even know how to explain. I think I did use the wrong side, just so you know. You're supposed to hold the tip.
You say use the wrong side?
No, side.
Oh,
Side.
sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so you hold the tip. You hold the tip and you roll it down the
Why
shaft,
are we
right?
going?
But I didn't
this
know
is
that
sex talk
dog.
that your parents should have been having with
But
you?
if my parents did, I would have had some type of idea, but
into you rolling on a condom
because it was funny, dog.
Off topic here.
The fucking anyway.
Okay.
I unrolled the shit and then it was baggy like some sweatpants, so I take that shit off. The end. I was like, something is wrong here, bro.
I forgot what I wanted to say.
And just so you
I
know,
remember what
there's
was it?
instructions on the box.
Yeah, I'm glad I did not know that. Really? I never think, but
Hey, okay. I want to ask you guys a
Alright,
question.
alright.
When did you guys learn about consent? Like actually learn about consent?
To be honest, like consent was always a thing. I was always conscious of what rape was. Like
Yeah.
it was never. It's like being aware of murder. Like I know what it is.
But the thing is, I would hear lots of men, especially from the Caribbean and stuff like that. Lots of them would say that, oh, they were pressure, and they don't think that pressuring is also like, so we're gonna do it or not. We're gonna do it or not. We're gonna like asking you. They don't
coercive.
think that is, you know, that's a part of consent. Like, you know, you can't.
I feel like we just now like determining that as well. Like we're determining just because I didn't actively say no, that still doesn't mean that I was consenting to do that. And so like even going back to that question about the whole condom thing, even though I would rather stop talking about it. Do you think like that's a part of sex education? Should be with your parents? Should your parents teach you how to roll a condom on?
they
Is
don't-
that a part of
Right.
sex ed? for
They
them?
ain't supposed to demonstrate it, but they can tell you how to do it, or tell you, by the instructions on the back of the box. That would be great to know.
But also,
Yeah.
but also, that's why you have sex education in school.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
when
I'm
they
like-
teach you in school. It's like how to put on condom for things that would be awkward for your parents to do.
Yeah,
So I feel like for your parents, what parents should be doing is not necessarily the logistics of how
Right,
sex
'cause
would
I'm like,
work
how
for
is
you.
my mother gonna teach
but
me
but
how to-
but they could do more
Okay.
of the conceptual aspects.
Yeah.
You know, and say like this and that, whatever. You know.
There's a joint effort between your parents and education.
Yeah, and exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Right.
And
like
even
I know.
even the schools fail us, I must say.
Very much so,
Because the last time I talked about sex ed in school was probably my eighth
grade. Exactly.
And
Why
I
the
haven't heard about it since then.
like,
It's like
it's a great time to prep us, right? I get that, but like grade 11, you know how much people was bro?
Completely.
Like, and not even like at the house, but at school, bro. Like they
Botanical
ducking for a
garden.
period, bro.
this is when hormones are raging.
Right.
You don't think sex ed is even more important right now? It was never even in high school. I literally learned about it the 8th grade that one time, and that was it. It was like, okay, I set you on for life.
Yeah, well.
In the 8th grade.
I don't
But,
think
yeah.
like because I went to an all girls Catholic school. We weren't talking about that at
It
all.
should have been.
That was not in the curriculum.
Thing. I don't understand.
Man, no, going there. Curious, since you went to all girls Catholic school, how was the sex? Like, I sure they had some type of sex life there. Not saying that you was a part of it, but did you see anything like that?
I don't know, like my mom likes to say I was sheltered. I didn't really pay much attention to like what was going on. Like I knew what was happening. Like like you're young, like stuff was happening, but then like it wasn't really spoken about. Like nothing really much was like. But you know, like lunchtime will come, you're like, oh wait, I hear this girl and that one were doing this and this behind the school, blah blah blah. And like I didn't really pay much attention to it because I was like, that's not my business.
You're not bothered.
I was like, that's not my business.
You can kiss
like,
whoever you want.
like do you, my dog, like do, and that's like still my attitude to today. Like if it's not my business, like do you, like express yourself how you want to, like it's your sexuality. And then I think like also like with going to an all girls Catholic school, like I feel like the friends that I had in school at that time were all like talking about it and everything, and in my mind I was like, man, that ain't for me. Like, I was like, we're 15. Like, I didn't care. I was like, that is not on my mind right now. But then my best friend was like, yeah, so me and my boyfriend, blah, blah. And I remember I used to sit down there and I was like, I don't care, but tell me more. I don't care, but tell me more.
I feel like I was very curious though, cause like y'all was talking about like condoms and so on. Cause I used to practice putting on condoms. I was in the body. I would just be in my room. I'd be like, let me put this shit on. So I mean, but I don't know whether that curiosity is from confidence that I got because I had a conversation with my mommy, because like I lost my virginity very young, and so my mommy and I have just been talking about that for so long, right? Like, and now it's like to a point where I feel like I'm going back in the conversation a bit, but I feel like now it's to a point where like my mommy and I talk about like, oh, when Nancy got tested, whatever, you know, my mommy say, oh, 3 months is coming up, you usually get tested every 3 months. You get tested. I was like, yeah, I get tested.
Yeah, like my mom,
that kind of stuff.
my mom like checks up on it. Like
stuff,
she knows
fine.
I go like every year to get tested. Like,
Yeah.
I might not be doing anything, but I still go to like stay on top of things. Like I tell like, hey, mommy, this is this. Like, hey, mommy, like this is what's happening with my
I find that my mom is very
everything.
curious now because like, I don't know. I mean, I'm a little more sexually active than she was in her day, but
okay.
I mean, that's what she told you.
That's what she told me.
That's what she
you know?
said.
And so I find that she asking me all kind of questions now, which is so funny because it's like I am the young, you know, I'm the child. Why is it that your parents did not impart into you the knowledge for you to be imparting it into me? Why am I the one who's imparting it into you, right?
Because you're the one that's doing it.
Well, child.
She trying to live vicariously through you.
To bring back the thing what you were saying was with consent. I remember the story for me. It was like I always had the same mentality. Like it was a consent thing. Like I just understood it. I remember this time I was supposed to be studying for some exams. I was in the 9th grade, and I was just talking to my girlfriend and I trying to speed through the story, but she ended up making a joke saying I can come by you if you want. And she's like, all right. My mom went on vacation and my sister leave. Like you could pull up. So in my head I was like. In my head, like, I'm about to pull up. I trying to get my story together. I trying to talk to my sister boyfriend because he got the car. I want him carry me, so I telling him the story. I remember I was so hyped because in my head I like 15. I put to lose my virginity or like I on the phone.
Excited.
Bro, my girl say she want. I talking like 1,000 miles an hour.
But my girl say out of town. Well, you can use a car, please. Please.
It's like, yeah, bro, I can carry you by the girl. That's cool, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. I didn't have the story. Me and him going to the movies. He got me straight. So I tell her my sister, so my sister like could back me up too, like just because I trust my sister, I stalked her. So my sister's like, all right, I understand. So but just remember, no means no. And in my head, I was just like, what? Like, why did you have to say that? Like in my head, it was just a weird thing. Like just randomly, she just say it. Just remember, no means no, and then she just walk off. I was like, all right, cool. I tell my mommy what happening. My sister boyfriend get me to the movies, but they go. She's like, ah, you been studying? I said, all right, cool, have fun. So I remember when he pull up, because I remember telling him bring me some condoms. So he bring me the condoms. I hop in the car with him. When we reached by your house. When I was about to leave, before I leave, he said, "Oh, but just remember, by no means no." I was like that was like the second time someone just said this, and I was just like, what was that? Like my thought process was like, okay, all right, cool. Like, you know, I didn't think like nothing of it. I was like, yeah. So I remember me and my girl at the time was hanging out. This is like a much deeper traumatic story for me, but besides the general thing, I remember this is part of the reason I was studying videos. I don't go into too much, but I wanted to take off her pants because I really didn't know. I wouldn't say the anatomy of the female body. Yeah. So I remember I was thinking like I'm gonna go like proceed the. I was like, all right, if I take off the pants, I know exactly what to do. And when I go to take off her pants, she say no. So as soon as she said that, right, the first thing came to my mind was the 2 times everything was saying no.
Everything made sense.
I was like, oh, as soon as she said, I was like, I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And in my head, I was automatically, all right, the switch flipped, like I'm not dead. And she's like, no, you can still do it. Just don't take off my pants. And then that's when everything get discombobulated for me. So imagine you have the whole blueprint, the whole layout. And I was like, so I just have to slide my hand in, but I can't see nothing. I was like, that's all the lucky
No. Y'all
a lucky
day.
That's just the idea. Like,
Y'all getting off a topic.
But
right?
wow. Anyway, so another part of my question that I wanted to ask was, or really basically say was, like I feel like parents as well, they put like such a stigma on sex to where I was scared of it. Like it was always don't have sex, and then when the time come or whatever for me to have sex, I was like, should I even be doing this? Because my parents, all I've been growing up hearing was, oh no sex, no sex. It's like I like basically pushed that off to like the longest I could have, because I was like, oh, if I have sex now, my parents could be like, offended or I could disappoint them or something because they always pushed it off.
Right.
But they never let me know that, hey, at some point.
The girl who took my virginity thought she was going to get pregnant just from having sex. Like...
I don't know.
That's how
like,
misinformed she probably was. And I look at her, she's thinking the first time she has sex, I can get pregnant. I was scared of it. I literally was, because my parents always, like, they never made an effort to talk to me about it, and also they tried to like demonize it. So like it's like I literally didn't know.
Exactly. A lot of times that makes you, well, not you, but people in general, a lot of times they make the girl feel judged or whatever because she's had sex, or because she has these feelings. A lot of time you get internalized hatred for yourself because it's like, well, why am I liking sex, or why am I thinking about it? So I don't know, when you don't talk
but then
about
it also
it in a
makes you
healthy
scared
way.
to ask for help if you
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't. Who you're supposed to turn to if you do have sex?
I can't find out. My parents can't find out I have sex. I can get in trouble.
Yes,
it's like
you
I
can't
can't
tell
even come
them
to you
anything.
when I am supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like my family is like a lot different from others. Like I said, like my mom is open with everything, and then one of my cousins, like she's like in her 30s now, well 40s now. She got pregnant at 15. But like my family was like so open with it, and they were so welcoming to her, and they were like, okay, you did this has happened, we understand, we're here for you. And like that is something. And she also like she helped raise me like while she was studying, like for getting her accounting degree and everything. Like I consider her my second mother. Like that's the thing, like my family never was like, okay, like yeah, my mom is a staunch Catholic, church every Sunday, no skipping. Like I went to an all Catholic, like all girls Catholic school. Like yeah, from like other people, like from outside influences, but not within my family, they were like, yeah, sex is bad. But then like my parents didn't demonize it the same way that others might have. They were like, okay, like this is what, like though they never like straight up came up to me and told me like, this is like sex, this is what's happening there or anything. Like I said, I know like if I had asked them questions, like if I had asked my mother a question, she would have been open with it with me. Because like I said, like my cousin got pregnant at 15. My family welcomed her and her daughter with open arms. They didn't judge her. Like it was something that happened. And yeah, it happened. Gonna move on with life and make the best of it.
No, a lot of times they don't talk about sex, or when they do talk about sex, they make it seem like sex is just you losing virginity. So a lot of women do other things to not just do that one thing. So they end up doing back door upstairs, you know, like
take me back, bro. You take me back. No,
it's true.
Back door business,
and a lot of people don't know how to protect themselves when they're doing the backdoor stuff or the upstairs.
Yeah,
you know, the
because
upstairs.
all that was taught is that sex is
but
bad.
then
So
just don't
if
lose
I don't do
virginity.
sex, then everything else I do is okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But that's still wrong. Like yo,
and that's why it's very irresponsible of you not to talk to your child about it, because it's like all these different perceptions I'm getting. I'm gonna try to, if sex is what's gonna be the bad thing, let me try to do something that's not sex or whatever. But it's the same thing. It's more dangerous.
Yeah.
But also I feel like you're also robbing your child of enjoying something that is naturally enjoyable.
Exactly,
right?
but they
like
think it's big people thing.
It's a
So
sex.
it ain't nothing for you to do.
Well, let me not say child, because it's not child, but your offspring, whatever your, you know what I mean. But I mean that, because for me, I know if I were to have a child, I would want my child to enjoy having sex. I wouldn't want them to feel guilty every time they have sex, or feel ashamed of themselves, or feel like they have to hide anything. But the only way for me to ensure that they do enjoy sex, but that they feel secure in the fact
go
that they're
into
enjoying
it with
sex.
like being informed and going
Being
into
informed,
this thing.
yeah,
If I
right.
know all the implications and all the repercussions that come in along with sex, I can make an informed decision as to whether I want to have sex or not. Like you completely robbing me of like the knowledge I need to go on in the world, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like for me, as I said, my mom is very like liberal with the way we talk about sex. Like, I tell my mommy stories sometime, you know.
I ain't doing all of that.
Never see to
No,
that.
I say, mommy, the car broke down when we was out there, you know, and I had to call my cousin.
I think that's another problem too with
Yeah.
like talking about sex with your kids, is because maybe like at certain point your parents will feel like you too familiar. Like why would I talk to my little child about something that's a grown people thing to do? Like I guess they just don't want
what
you
does
to
that
become,
term even mean? Too familiar?
I don't know.
Like, is that a bad thing to be familiar with your
I feel
parents?
like
Like, think about it, bro.
Parents have a thing, Caribbean parents have a thing where they want you to make sure you establish that I am the parent, you're the
they have
child.
this thing where it's like, you know, I'm your mommy, not your friend, or whatever.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing.
So it's like if me and you chatting
Authoritarian
about
complex.
sex, You know,
Some
like
shit
that's
like that,
just a
yes.
line that we don't cross. That's how they feel about it.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's crossing the line with them, maybe.
And the problem with that type of mentality is I think it never end, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
carry that you'd
exactly.
be 50, you won't be 70 by Zimmer. Listen.
Yeah.
Like how long you would carry this?
Exactly.
But the next thing I want to think about, like I could say being younger, I wish I understood like the dangers of like someone could explain to me the negative effects of masturbation or just overly doing it as like a young kid.
Yeah, and all of that
Yeah,
encompasses sex.
yeah.
So
That's
all
something
of
I
that
personally wish like someone educated me on.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
Yeah.
And
young, I
the
was
thing,
going through
this may sound even like really awkward to say on camera, but even if women were to teach like little girls, or if they have this big thing about having sex at a young age or whatever, even before girls have sex, some girls do masturbate. So you should even teach your daughter that it's okay to even do that until you could wait to have sex or stuff like that, you know. But they just rather disregard the whole thing.
There was this study done basically that was saying with masturbation, a lot of girls, if they can't order toys, or especially in the Caribbean, we can't order toys or we can't buy toys because you're not legally able to just buy toys in a store. That is that making homemade things like to use for masturbation purposes. And a lot of these things are basically messing up the pH balance, messing up the insides and stuff like that, just because nobody is talking to them about it. Nobody's telling them like, okay, it's okay, and maybe you could use this, or maybe why you should wait, or nobody's telling them not. Like, just there's health implications that comes along with just being ignorant. Anyway,
even to this day, my parents already set the standard for me, so it's no way they could ever get me to even utter sex. For like, my parents could never get me to talk about sex.
Late.
I don't care how old I am. That's never going to be me and my parents' relationship. If I get pregnant, as far as they know, I adopt that baby because literally, I like nothing.
I think most Caribbean parents never want to like. They don't want to talk about it with their child because that's your child, like that's your baby.
And there's another thing that I
That's
feel
the
like
thing.
people should talk about, like, especially with condoms and so on. Because if you use oil on condom, the condom will break, right? And it's like, okay, like so just to take an example, you know, your parents come and give you a condom, but they ain't tell you how to put it on, and they tell you like don't use it with oil because suppose you only have coconut oil, you know.
Exactly.
On top of that, like I don't think my parents know that like condoms is break with oil based.
Then they should learn when they get kids.
But that's what they're trying to show you. Like there's a generation gap, and my parents personally don't know how to use computers. So for a lot of things, like a lot of new age technology, a lot of new age things, like I'm mad that they didn't teach me it, but they're not necessarily at fault because they didn't know.
They had fault. I sit there.
But
okay,
American justice system
and jucking and whatever. They know exactly what's going on. They just don't want to tell you because you're a child.
But they
so your parents is getting super freaky with the loop
then. Freaky things that we is doing this generation, but they know a little something.
They was doing it too.
So
that means you was so you know what to do.
Guys, use water-based loops.
What?
Their parents teach them, so they might have thought to teach you.
And look at how ignorant. I mean, look at how naive you were. You want me to be just as naive as
you?
Like, I'm trying to say, like, they mightn't have come to the conclusion. They might have thought that was the best technique at the time.
Son. Nah.
Not the missionary.
Okay, do you guys think do you guys think it's their duty to learn? Okay, as they get kids and the kids grow up, it's their duty to learn new techniques.
That's what being a parent is.
Yes,
it is your responsibility to teach me everything there is to know about this life so that I'm prepared.
So crazy, like.
Every aspect of life you need to teach me.
Caribbean, I don't know if it's Caribbean parents or just parents in general. Like I don't know, they believe that. Not they, but there's a big majority, at least for me in the Bahamas that I came across, that just believe by like once you put your child in private school, they got somewhere to sleep and some place over their head. It's cool. You could say whatever the fuck you want to them. You could talk to them dead hard, like, but you could slap them up in public. Because why you go to private schools, you don't have nothing to complain about. There's people with real life problems.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm hurt.
Okay, so for me at least, the difference with my kids, I feel like I'm gonna start young, but in the sense of, okay, this is your vagina, this is your penis, not no cookie and no lollipop. No, this is your penis and your vagina. People should not be touching your penis. People should not be touching your vagina. Let them know straightforward from that sense. Let them know what these things are used for. Like, you know, in general, like I'm gonna start young in that sense. But when it comes to like, okay, when it comes to feelings and you get a boyfriend and girlfriend, maybe around 13, 12, around that age, because people do have feelings downstairs around that age, right? And then you just obviously have to. The topic gets a little bit more mature as they grow. So
you give them a little bit more as they get older.
So it's gonna start early.
Yeah, I'll never leave my kid going blind. Like they
Never.
need to know everything because this world and things that's be going on. I gotta make sure you know what is what.
Okay, I guess I'll go. For my kids, well, my daughter, educating her. I mean, as much as I can, because to what I believe, it's not necessarily like my role. I'm not an expert. I don't have a vagina, so probably leave that to my wife. For my son, I got $1 million worth of game for you, mother. Don't worry, I can tell you everything my daddy
with
didn't.
My daughter, I'm gonna make sure she doesn't feel like a just because she has
Like you're in the
feelings of
same view?
sex before a certain age.
Yeah.
So I feel like women as well, mothers need to stop treating sex like
You're
as
right.
like some type of weapon.
Wallahs.
Yeah. Inform your daughters. Like, come on, strengthen us women. You know, stick together.
Just like Wade said, I got game for days for my son. The difference is I tell him the same game to my daughter. So I can be like, you can avoid
Thank
your
you.
brother.
Exactly.
Thank
You know
you.
exactly how to avoid your brother. You can find that jokey young man that wholesome young man who. But now seriously, one thing I think about a lot is like when dudes like I can't see me going to my daughter and telling her she can't have sex. But I wouldn't say I would encourage her to have sex. I just be like, I want you to be safe. But the most important thing to me is I want you to be able to tell me anything. Especially like that's something again I want to like you was talking about teaching the children from younger. I don't want them to ever think I wouldn't believe them when they have something to say to me. But I want to be able to say like in case something traumatic happened to my children, they feel like they was molested,
Yes.
touched or something happened. Come talk to me. I can believe whatever you have to say. I don't care what no one else say. I can believe you. I don't give them a sense of like I want you to be familiar with me. Like if you feel like you could tell me anything, that's cool. That means I know we in a great space.
Perfect.
That's amazing, Atwell.
Yes. Love that for you.